Welcome to Revenge with Joanne. Sorry, honey, Mom said that morning, her voice flat and final, like she was canceling a dentist appointment instead of a child. We're not doing your birthday this year. Your brother's still sensitive about last weekend. I blinked, trying to make sense of the word sensitive. You mean because I brought home better grades than him? Dad didn't even bother lowering his newspaper. He just sighed like I was being inconvenient. He needs the focus right now, not you. Be mature about it. Just like that, 17 candles disappeared with one sentence. My name is Haley Monroe. I'm 17, and that night, while my brother leaned over a cake that was supposed to be mine, soaking up applause that never reached me, I went to my room and quietly packed a backpack, my savings jar, and my beat-up sketchbook with bent corners and graphite-stained pages. They always called him the Golden Boy, straight A's, football captain, smile front and center in every framed family photo. I was the thing standing slightly out of frame, the creative one, which in my house translated to impractical, dramatic, and disappointing. When they decided my birthday didn't matter because he didn't feel special enough, something inside me finally cracked clean in half. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I waited until the house went quiet, slipped out the front door, and caught a late bus into the city. That first night was pure terror, cold air biting my skin, empty streets humming with neon and loneliness, my heart pounding with every unfamiliar sound. But underneath the fear, there was something else, relief. For the first time, I could breathe without feeling like I was taking up someone else's air. I scraped by however I could, early mornings at a bakery, flour in my hair, burns on my fingers, afternoons sketching portraits in public parks for spare change, nights crashing on couches of people who barely knew my last name. It wasn't pretty, but it was mine, and every drawing I finished carried the same quiet promise: I will never let anyone make me feel small again. By the time I turned 18, I had built something real, a tiny art studio barely bigger than a storage room, a growing social page, clients who paid me to see the world through my eyes. Then, about a year later, my phone lit up with a message from Mom. "Your brother saw your post. He's not handling it well." I didn't know it then, but that message was the crack that would split the family wide open. It came late at night, a long text full of half apologies and carefully placed guilt. "Haley, you know how your brother is. You shouldn't flaunt your success online. It makes him feel bad." Flaunt? I had posted one photo, my first studio, a rented box with peeling paint, canvases stacked against the wall, and one flickering lamp. But to them, my happiness was an insult. I didn't reply. The next morning, my phone exploded. Missed calls, group chat messages, then a voicemail from Liam. "You think you're better than us now? Mom cries every day because of you. You abandoned us, Haley." Abandoned, the word tasted bitter. I'd been unseen for years, left behind long before I ever walked out the door. Later that week, someone unexpected stepped into my studio. Aunt Clara, my mom's older sister. She moved slowly, studying the artwork on my walls, bold, raw, nothing like the soft beige silence of my childhood home. "You did all this yourself?" she asked. I nodded. Every line, every brushstroke. Her expression softened. "Your mother's worried. Liam's been spiraling, missing work, drinking, blaming you. Same story, different day. When he fell apart, I was the reason." I wiped paint from my hands and said calmly, "Maybe it's time he looks at what he's actually built." Clara hesitated, then said quietly, "They don't understand you, Haley, but I do. Don't go back yet. Let them come to you." For the first time, someone in that family wasn't asking me to shrink. They were asking me to stand my ground. The truth came knocking harder than I ever expected. The next weekend, while I was working late, my phone buzzed nonstop. 27 missed calls. Aunt Clara's voicemail cracked with panic. "Haley, he's losing control. He smashed your dad's car. Please, if you can, come." I drove back to that house for the first time in a year. The porch light burned like judgment. Inside, the air reeked of cheap whiskey and broken pride. Liam sat at the kitchen table, head in his hands, knuckles split and bleeding. Mom stood behind him, shaking. "He saw your article," she whispered. "The one about turning struggle into art. He thinks you mocked him." I looked at my brother, the same boy they'd worshipped, the one who had never heard the word no. "I didn't mock you," I said softly. "I survived you." He looked up, eyes red-shot. "You ruined everything. You made them love you." For 1 second, pity crept in. Then Dad stormed in, yelling at me for provoking him. Same reflex. Protect the golden boy, blame the girl. This time, I didn't fold. I grabbed the torn newspaper from the counter and pointed to my quote, "The ones you silence often end up speaking the loudest." "I didn't write that for you," I said, "but if it fits, wear it." The kitchen went dead quiet, the clock ticking like a verdict. I left the same way I had a year earlier, but this time my head was high and my keys were in my hand. Liam screamed my name behind me. I didn't turn around. I finally understood. I wasn't their scapegoat anymore. I was their mirror. 3 days later, the fallout began. My brother's breakdown didn't stay private. He live-streamed part of it, ranting about how I'd stolen his life. It went viral because the truth was undeniable. In the background of the shaky video, my mother's voice was caught on audio. "Haley should have never been born. She ruins everything she touches." That single sentence shattered whatever mask my parents had left. Old friends from town commented beneath the clip, so now everyone sees how they treated her. The support poured in, but it didn't feel sweet. Vindication never really heals, it just exposes what was already rotten. Aunt Clara called again. "Your mom's humiliated, your dad's furious, Liam's gone, no one's heard from him." I stared at my latest canvas, paint drying around a storm and a single open window. "It's not my fault anymore," I said. "No," Clara answered, "but you're the only one who can end it right." That night, I posted one sentence on my art page. "To the people who raised me, I forgive you, but I will never come back." Thousands of comments followed. Artists, survivors, strangers who understood. For the first time, I wasn't alone with my pain. I knew then this wasn't just about my family. It was about choosing peace when chaos is all you're taught. A week later, there was a knock on my studio door. When I opened it, Liam stood there, thinner, unshaven, shaking. The golden boy looked like a ghost of his own spotlight. "Can we talk?" he muttered, eyes fixed on the floor. For a second, I froze. Old habits kicked in. Fear, guilt, caution. But I moved aside. "5 minutes," I said. He stepped in, staring at the canvases covering the walls. Color, chaos, healing. "So this is where you went," he whispered. "This is where I found myself," I corrected. He nodded slowly. "I watched your interviews. You're doing well." His voice cracked. "I'm not." For the first time in our lives, Liam wasn't performing. He was just human, broken in all the ways I used to be. "I didn't mean what I said online," he continued. "I was angry. They made me believe you took everything." I leaned against the counter. "You let them make you believe that." He flinched, then quietly, "I know." We stood in silence for a long time. Then he said the words I never expected. "I think Mom and Dad are scared now. They don't know how to exist without controlling someone." I sighed. "They'll have to learn." Before leaving, he pulled something from his pocket, a photo of us as kids covered in paint, after we'd ruined Dad's car with our art project. "I kept it," he said softly. When the door closed behind him, I sat on the floor staring at that photo. 2 kids who once laughed without conditions. Maybe that version of us was gone, but maybe, just maybe, the version that comes next could finally be free of them both. Days passed and the chaos slowly dulled into quiet. My parents hadn't called, hadn't texted, hadn't tried to fix the mess. For once, their silence wasn't control, it was consequence. But one evening, my phone buzzed with a message I didn't expect, from Mom. "Haley, we've lost everything. Your father's business collapsed. Liam's gone to therapy. I'm proud of you, I guess. I don't know how to say this right." I stared at those words for a long time. Proud of you. 3 words I'd begged for as a child, now arriving years too late. I typed, deleted, retyped, then finally replied. "I hope you both find peace. I already have." No anger, no lecture, just truth. That night, I visited the art show that had launched my career, the same gallery that once refused to even look at my work. The director greeted me with open arms. "Haley, critics loved your new piece. Inheritance, right?" I smiled. "Yeah, it's about what we take with us and what we leave behind." The painting hung in the center of the room. A table set for a birthday that never happened. Candles burning down to wax. A single chair pulled away from the table. Underneath, a small plaque read, "For the girl who wasn't invited." People stopped and stared. Some cried quietly. And in that moment, I felt something shift. My story wasn't pain anymore. It was art. Before leaving, I got another text, this one from Liam. "Thanks for not hating me." I smiled through a slow exhale. "I never did. I just stopped needing your approval." And that simple truth, that peace, felt louder than every scream that ever came before it. 2 months later, the world felt different, not because my past disappeared, but because it no longer defined me. I'd been invited to speak at an art therapy convention in Chicago, something I never thought I'd be brave enough to do. Standing backstage, I looked down at my trembling hands and thought of the girl who once painted in secret under a flickering lamp, afraid her parents would call it a waste of time. Now, that same girl was about to tell hundreds of people that survival is its own kind of masterpiece. When my name was called, I stepped up to the microphone. "My parents didn't celebrate my 17th birthday," I began. "They said my brother needed the attention more." I used to believe that meant I wasn't enough, but I learned something. Sometimes rejection is just the world redirecting you toward yourself. The room went silent, not out of pity, but connection. After the speech, people lined up to thank me. Women, men, even a quiet teenage girl clutching her sketchbook. "You made me want to draw again," she whispered. That night, back in my hotel room, I opened my inbox to find an email from Aunt Clara. "Your parents are moving out of town. They're quieter now. Your mom asked me to tell you. She keeps one of your paintings in her kitchen. She says it helps her remember who she lost." For a moment, I didn't know whether to cry or smile. Maybe both. Because for the first time, I realized forgiveness doesn't mean opening old doors. It means locking them gently and hanging a painting over the place where they used to hurt. And that, I thought, was my real inheritance. A year later, I hosted my own gallery exhibition, my biggest one yet. The theme, "Golden Doesn't Mean Good." Each canvas told a story of broken families, invisible daughters, and quiet resilience. People walked through in silence, moved by colors that once came from my own bruises. In the corner hung one final piece, a simple portrait of 2 siblings as children, laughing under a summer sky. The title read, "Before They Told Us Who to Be." The crowd lingered their longest. As the night wound down, Aunt Clara arrived, smiling proudly. "I think your dad would have come if he could face himself," she said softly. I nodded. "Maybe one day." She handed me an envelope. Inside was a small note and signed, "Happy birthday, Haley. I watched your interview. You were right. Love shouldn't need permission. Mom." I stared at the handwriting, shaky, uncertain, human. Then I folded it and placed it in my journal beside the first dollar I ever earned for my art. Later that evening, I stepped outside onto the balcony, overlooking the glowing city. My reflection shimmered faintly against the glass. No longer the forgotten daughter, no longer the runaway girl, just me. The hum of the city below felt like applause for every quiet victory I'd ever had to celebrate alone. I whispered to the night, "I made it, Dad. I made it, even without them." And for the first time, I didn't feel angry or empty or even proud. I just felt whole. Because healing isn't about proving them wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you are always right to walk away. And this time, I wasn't walking away from family.